Well, hey everybody, I'm John Retlin with another end of year show, my 20 least favorite matches of 2019 list. 25 favorite and 20 least favorite moments list will be coming up later today, sometime tomorrow, and you're going to be getting a lot of end of year shows. I'm going to have 20 wrestlers to watch out for in 2020, a lot of indie people and a lot of people that I'm going to be talking about that I've seen live, and also some wrestlers I feel are underutilized. I may even do one where I talk about my 15 favorite pay-per-views, WWE, New Japan, that kind of stuff, big events. And I'm also going to have some other lists up at some point, my top 50 favorite matches of 2019, which is going to include the women's matches, and oh boy, that's going to be controversial, but that's in the future, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future, because the now is talking about 20 matches that were either on WWE NXT events, New Japan events, AEW events, or in the case of the first one, from G1 Supercard, Flip Gordon and Lifeblood versus Bully Ray, Shane Taylor, and Silas Young, a New York City street fight. You're putting Bully Ray in a goddamn match in 2019. Why? I mean, I'm not trying to be ageist here. I'm really not. There are some people that perform well into their 50s. He's almost 50 or at 50. I don't know. I don't pay attention much to what he does because he's too busy getting, he was too busy getting his girlfriend in the Ring of Honor when she had no business being there, Velvet Sky, if you didn't know who I'm talking about. And Bully Ray really just isn't that good anymore. He peaked in 2013 in Impact when he was revealed to be the leader of Aces and Eights. The most shocking reveal, except we all knew it was coming. It was well done, but anyway, this match just didn't click. It was between Flip and Bully because they had their feud going on, and Flip had suffered, I believe, a knee injury or something like that, and that kind of stalled the feud. But it was what it was. Ring of Honor shit the fucking bed with the G1 Supercard. They did, and I'm not saying that the talents didn't try. I'm not going to get out here and say that the talents did not try. I know the women did. Kelly Klein and Mayu Iwatani. In the ladder match, Taven, Skrull, and Lethal sure as fuck did try, but boy, New Japan really shined on that stage, and this match was not really a great way to display the talent that Ring of Honor had, because also, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. It just ultimately didn't work. It was sloppy, badly done. It was like the timing was off. I don't know what the fuck the deal was. It just wasn't very good, and I have to put it on here because really, of all the matches that were on G1 Supercard that Ring of Honor had, this is a match where I'm just like, what the fuck? Why? I mean, I like Silas Young. Shane Taylor isn't that bad either. I don't mind Flip Gordon. But Bully Ray, it's just anytime Bully Ray's in the ring now, it's like just click. It's just like you just want to click your goddamn brain off. So we now get to number 19. Alex Jabali versus Michael Nakka Zawa. Hardcore match. And what was it, at Fyter Fest? Yeah, it was at Fyter Fest. I didn't even write down the event. Because this match, look, comedy hardcore matches with like a celebrity and this kind of stuff aren't the worst things in the world, because they've been doing that all the way back in the 60s, 70s, that kind of stuff. They were doing it in Memphis, they were doing it in other promotions, where they would have celebrities, and they would have others, do comedy type matches. And nothing wrong with that, but if you're going to advertise a hardcore match, and you're going to do like, bumps in a kiddie pool, or you're going to do like, stupid bumps into like, objects in the ring, it's just dumb. It's just really, really dumb. And I mean, I'm sorry, Michael knock it off. And I know I'm making fun of that, and I'll stop that right there, because I'm sure he's a nice guy, but guess what? I don't care, because the gimmick is stupid. The gimmick is objectively stupid. And this Alex Jabali guy who, okay, sure, he's a gamer guy, should never be allowed in a fucking ring ever again. This was embarrassing. This was an embarrassing hardcore match. This was really bullshit. I could not believe that this shit was put, and this was put on the buy-in, by the way. Hey guys, come watch this stuff. This is what we're going to use to entice you to watch it. Now, it was free for the US fans. I still felt like, they should have paid me to watch this bullshit, because it was bad. It was really, really bad. And there's nothing wrong, again, with having comedy matches. This wasn't funny, and it wasn't interesting, and it went on forever. This isn't going to be the last time, by the way, that AEW gets mentioned on this list. Bit of a spoiler. But because we go to number 18, the All Out Battle Royal at All Out, obviously. Look, Paige and MJF did great. Hangman Page, thanks, Sturb, and MJF did great in this whenever they were in there. There were some funny moments. Having comedy in a battle royal isn't even the worst thing in the world. The problem is this was supposed to be for, to earn, a spot to take on somebody, take on either Jericho or Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. Originally, it was supposed to be Paige and Pac in a match to determine who would get that shot, which would have been a whole lot better. And then this battle royal would have just been something just for fun. The fact they had to slot that stipulation in here, though, shows that they panicked. Instead of just shuffling it and just making the battle royal and making Paige versus MJF and that kind of stuff, just make that, for a title shot, that would have been better. Because what they did here was really, really shit. And they had the Dustin Thomas guy, the guy with no legs, who, I'm not going to knock him personally. That's a gutsy thing to want to do, to get in the ring. Now, he shouldn't have been in the ring trying to get a title shot, but it's a gutsy thing for him to do. I will say that much. And it is terrible that he had to suffer those medical, setbacks. And credit to him for trying to live his dream. Should he have been in the ring? No, shouldn't have been in the ring at all. But then you got the Orange Cassidy bullshit with Tommy Dreamer, and I didn't mind the stuff with Sonny Kiss. I think they should have done more with Sonny Kiss there because, hey, at least he's got some talent. And they've kind of just been using him as a comedy, in a comedy role and a comedy jobber, and I kind of hope that they, get away from that and maybe use them a little more seriously or release some more competitive matches in 2020. But with this, it was just dumb. It was a dumb battle royal, and I don't mind battle royals. They're actually my favorite match concept besides tournaments. But if it had just been Paige and MJF in a number one contenders match, it would have been so much better, and just have this battle royal be comedy. Okay. But now we're going to get on to better things. Oh, wait, no, we're not, because we're counting from 20 to 1, so things are only going to get worse. Number 17, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox versus Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. It was on NXT TV. It was right after Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox were cleared and got back into things and were back on TV after suffering very severe ACL tears. And considering that they had to carry Duke and Shafir all that dead weight, I'm amazed they didn't need surgery right afterwards. Look, Duke and Shafir may be trying, but it ain't working. It ain't working at all. They are fucking rotten. They have only gotten worse. Some people are like, oh, no, they've gotten incrementally better. I'm not seeing it. When they're standing still like statues, which is about the best use for them, just standing there and not doing a goddamn thing, sure, they look intimidating. When they try moving, they trip over their own feet. They just move like they have two left feet. It's like they can't. It's like they're underwater when they move. They just don't know what the hell they're doing. Having a striking look and everything, they do have striking looks. I will say that much. They have different looks compared to, a lot of other women that are on the roster, and that's great. You know what's not great? Everything else about them. At least in the wrestling ring. Seriously, they're fucking terrible. What the fuck? Why are they featured there? Oh, because Shayna needs backup. Except Shayna doesn't need backup. At this point, they've established Shayna enough as it is. They've pretty much drugged Shayna down every time they've appeared. And they weren't part of War Games. You know why? Because, oh boy, that women's War Games match, had it involved Duke and Shafir, would have been so horrendous. It would have just been fucking rotten. But here, again, I'm just amazed Tegan and Dakota did not need more surgery after snapping their ligaments, trying to carry all this dead weight, because Duke and Shafir are fucking useless. It's Shayna and her OGs. OGs, why the fuck are they here? Now we're rolling, so let's get to number 16. Kazuchika Okada versus Chris Jericho, IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Dominion in Osaka. Am I being mean to this match? Yes. Because Okada tried everything he could to get something out of Chris Jericho. Now they did. Jericho's work in New Japan has actually not been that bad. I will say that much. He has actually done really good character work. He has done a really good job trying to hype up and build up people and everything. And from 2018, the match he had with Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12, and then beating Tetsuya Naito for the Intercontinental Championship and holding for 7 pissing months. Well, almost 7 months. I think it was like 5 days before 7 months. Still, that was about, 6 months too long, but it is what it is. He then defended it against Tetsuya Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 13. Only defended it one time in 7 months, because he had to contractually. If you don't defend the title at least once every 6 months in New Japan, you get stripped of it. So he defended it against Evil. The moments of him attacking people and building up feuds are fine. The problem is when it gets in between the ropes. This match with Okada, good God, Jericho was gassed within the first 5 minutes. I am no athlete. I will never claim to be an athlete. I've only ever claimed to be a wrestling fan. I can only imagine how tough it is to have taken bumps for years and years and years. And even though Jericho's been on a part-time basis pretty much since about 2010, like September 2010, I think is about the last time that he ended up being, like totally full-time, and then he would, wrestle full-time for a few months and then would take like a break for a few months. Yes, he should be used sparingly, especially on New Japan TV. But good God, he was gassed within the first 5 minutes, and Okada's having to do everything to carry him. And I mean, maybe I was just watching the wrong match. I don't know. Maybe I was seeing something totally different. But Chris Jericho not being able to have a good match with Okada. Okada not being able to get a good match out of Chris Jericho. It was one of the most unwatchable matches I've seen with Okada in this role as as the main guy in a good while. I mean, yes, you could point out the matches that Okada had with Bad Luck Fale and people like that. But with Fale, you know what to expect. With Jericho, you're thinking, okay, maybe Jericho, even though he's almost 50, will show up and will do stuff. He did good character work. He was also totally gassed. And it was atrocious. I'm just like, good God, Okada was carrying him like crazy. I couldn't fucking believe it. It was absolutely astounding. I don't know. I just don't understand why Jericho keeps getting chance after chance after chance. Sure, he gets some commercial success, or commercial attention to WWE, or not WWE, but New Japan. But good God, it's so ridiculous. So folks, I'm going to be right back after this short break. Alright, sorry folks, just needed a quick break right here, and yes, if you can see right here in the corner, my producer decided to make an appearance, but I had a little bit of a headache, just need to take a couple minute break. I need to remember not to get so angry here. Oh wait, I still have 15 more entrants in on this, so look at my cat and, appreciate the fact that the cat's right here. So, yes, the bottom line is when Okada can't get a really good match out of you, or even a good match out of you, that's something. Hey, at least we got Tanahashi versus Jericho. We got, we got horrible stamina versus bad knees. I love Tana. I'm a bit worried about that match. But I do love Tana, so I'm going to watch it. Of course, it's Wrestle Kingdom, so I'm going to watch it. So, we get number 15, Kofi versus Samoa Joe, WWE title, Extreme Rules. Joe dominated like 90% of this match. Trouble in Paradise, boom, that's it. They actually did do a pretty good job building this whole thing up, and then they did nothing with it, and I don't understand why they did that. It was pretty damn shit. The reason I'm putting this here is because Joe deserved a lot better than that. You know what? I think my cat being right here on camera is going to be a good calming influence. So this was not a good match. And it could have been really, really good. Now, I didn't expect Joe to beat Kofi. I mean, there were people writing off Kofi from about this point on until he finally lost it. And don't worry, I'm going to mention how Kofi lost the championship a little bit later, but this just wasn't a good use of Joe. Despite all that build, they just did this, and it was bullshit. Number 14. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam. The Mania match could have gone on here, but the Mania match at least was a cool moment. I'm sorry, I don't understand it. I don't understand why in the world they thought that this was good to go to twice. The build was already pretty much botched by WrestleMania 35, but hey, they pulled off a shocking moment, and they had Seth Rollins beat Brock Lesnar. Okay. And then Brock cashed in Money in the Bank. I was already angry about him cashing, or, weighing Money in the Bank. Don't worry, that may be referenced on my worst moments list. Stay tuned for that. But good God, they thought that this was going to work, and Rollins had all these buster ribs. He was all beat up and everything, and there's no way he could beat Brock Lesnar, and he beats Brock Lesnar, and no one cared. No one cared. No one fucking cared. Seth Rollins, look, I understand that they were trying to push him as a babyface. They were trying to make it work, and now they've just recently turned him heel on Raw because it was about goddamn time, because, his whole Twitter game and a whole bunch of stuff and everything, it just wasn't working at all. This was an example of something that didn't work, and then the crowd totally turned on him on a match I'm going to mention a little bit later at number, a little bit in the top 5, and you can probably guess which Hell in a Cell match I'm referencing. Oops. So, number 13. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Winner take all, the Extreme Rules mixed tag match at Extreme Rules, and it was shit. And I got nothing against Lacey Evans. I think the Lacey Evans-Becky Lynch feud should have benefited her a whole lot more. I mean, Lacey Evans. It just, the build, the lady versus the man should have actually done something pretty well. That was a pretty big missed opportunity. I would talk about missed opportunities in 2019, but we would be here all day because it'd be about 50 of them. But Rollins and Corbin didn't have an interesting feud at all. It just, Corbin, let's be perfectly honest, has not been interesting for a number of years, and I'll actually reference that on my least favorite list, but this just wasn't any good, and people just wanted to see it end. They need to drop the Extreme Rules name, come up with something else, because the whole idea of Extreme Rules, if it's PG and you can't even do this kind of stuff, like they've done some violent stuff. Becky and Sasha did a pretty damn good Hell in a Cell match that I might put over on my on my favorite list if I want to. I will. It's going to be pretty high also. But this just, Extreme Rules, if you're not going to do something where you're going to, do some extreme stuff, what's the point? Yes, Corbin did hit an end of days on Lynch, and I mean, maybe that's why this match isn't ranked in the top 10, because they did a few moments, but I just didn't care about the feuds by this point. Which is sad, because Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch would have been a feud. I'd like, shut up and take my money, because I would have liked to have seen that. Hopefully they can right the ship with Lacey Evans and she gets a big run in the Royal Rumble and then has a good run in 2020. Becky's already had a good run and will have good runs in the future. So we get to number 12, Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott, Elimination Chamber for the Raw Women's Championship. Yeah, it was like an hour and 40 minutes. It was a minute and 40 seconds. I understand that they were running low on time and everything, but then just don't have this. Have Ruby and the Riott Squad jump Ronda and everything instead of having the match, and then they actually have the match on Raw. That would have worked a whole lot better. Nope, Ruby just got squashed. And then Ruby got beat again in a more competitive match on Raw, but by then no one cared about Ruby Riott. I mean, I did, and fans did, but a lot of people just knew. They were like, okay, no one's going to give a shit about Ruby because we all know she's not going to win, which is a shame. Because Ruby's talented, and I hope comes back very soon, and comes back as a surprise in the Royal Rumble, and has like a nice 30-minute, run there. It was just a bad use all around, and whether it was Ronda's call or the company's call, I think it might have been the company's call. It was a slap in the face to Ruby for absolutely no reason, when they already gave her a bullshit angle with Natalya over Natalya's dead dad in a tables match that Ruby tried to make work, and Natty tried to make work. It's just a bad use of the women. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand why the fuck you want to use the women like this. I just don't get it. Why? Why would you do that? So, anyway, we get to number 11. Kenta versus Yoshihashi, Never Openweight Championship, New Japan Fighting Spirit Unleashed at the Hammerstein Ballroom. The show already started off on like the worst thing in the world. Just gonna see if I can get the boy to look. Hey, look at the camera. See? The fans want to see you. There you go. Anyway. This already wasn't starting off as the best show because of the whole delayed ambulance thing, and I think Ring of Honor might have had something to do with it, or somebody might have had something to do with it. But anyway, he's judging me while I'm doing this. But it already wasn't off to a great start. It got delayed and everything, and I felt bad for the Japanese, like one of the high-ranking guys in New Japan. He was like trying to say in English that he was sorry for the delay, and the fans were even chanting, "That's okay, that's okay." The fans were understanding. Which was good. But with this, they had a certain time limit, like a curfew and stuff like that, but they were able to go past it because of the delay. This match did not need to be 23 pissing minutes, though. Why was it 23 minutes? I have no fucking idea. New Japan doesn't have any fucking idea. It was fucking atrocious. It was fucking rotten. And Yoshihashi, who's a good tag team wrestler, he is. He's not good in singles competition. Kenta has been involved in a couple pretty damn cool moments, showing up at Dominion with Shibata, having Shibata attack him at the G1 Climax 29 finals. Those were some pretty good moments. The problem is Kenta just doesn't look like he gives a shit. Now, I mean, kind of in interviews, but in the match it just doesn't seem like he cares. And I'm sorry, him as Never Openweight Champion just isn't interesting. Yoshihashi being his opponent could have worked if it was like an 11-minute match. Yoshi got a chance to shine a bit. And that was it. Nope, they couldn't do that. Too long, too boring. Crowd hate it. I hate it. And there we go. Number 10. Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio, WWE title at Survivor Series. Controversy starting to come up. Easy for me to say the word controversy. Look, I know there are some people who like this match. I did not expect this match to go on that long. Rey Mysterio was the least believable challenger to Brock Lesnar, baby, besides Seth Rollins. But at least Seth Rollins you maybe could sort of buy as a hit-and-run guy. Rey is one of the best of all time. He is. He truly is one of the greatest of all time. Easily the greatest high flyer in the last 30 years. That isn't named Jushin Thunder Liger, in my personal opinion. Or maybe Great Muta. Him, Muta, and Liger, Muta, and Rey. But anyway, okay, that's a whole nother story for another day. But I didn't buy it. I didn't like it. It was also a no-holds-barred match, so you had the pipe get introduced. You had Dominic show up, and I'm sorry, I just don't like the thing of Dominic being included. People do, that's fine. I didn't buy this. I didn't buy this feud. I didn't like this feud. And Brock won easily. And I'm not even a fan of Brock Lesnar as WWE Champion. I don't like Brock Lesnar as WWE Champion. I hate it. But Ray winning it would have been even worse, in my personal opinion. I mean, because Ray probably would have had to have relinquished it in a couple months, or Andrade would have beat him, or somebody, and I don't know. They wrote themselves into a corner, and it was a shit match, in my opinion. Now we go to number 9, Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar, WWE title at Crown Jewel. Okay, it was shit. It was 2 minutes. It was pointless. Why the fuck was Cain Velasquez brought in? This is what they ended Kofi's title reign for, to bring Cain in. No, that's gotta be Cain Velasquez, and he gets beat easily, just easily. And no one gave a shit. I was just like, I was laughing. I was laughing while watching Crown Jewel. I was like, this is so fucking bullshit. So fucking bullshit. It was just stupid. It was just so goddamn stupid. So I'm saving time by going on to another match. Oh, for God's sakes. At Super Showdown, Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns. Drew McIntyre could not beat Roman Reigns three times. Couldn't beat him at Mania. Couldn't beat him other times. Shane McMahon could beat Roman Reigns. I don't care if it was via shenanigans. It was stupid. And the fact that they continued this whole thing with Shane McMahon made me glad when, okay, finally they decide, hey, we pissed off the audience enough. We ran the ratings into the goddamn ground. Let's get rid of Shane. Took them long enough. They got rid of him. But yeah, it just... Roman Reigns... Look, I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan, but for fuck's sake, that's the best you're going to do with him? That's the best? You're going to do that with him? You're going to have him lose to Shane McMahon? It's a terrible feud. It's fucking terrible. Now let's get into something that's even more terrible. Chase Owens in a title match, in a singles title match at least. Chase Owens versus Juice Robinson, U.S. title, on the New Japan Cup Finals show. They had a great match in the first round of the New Japan Cup. They did. I'm not going to deny that. That was a really good match. I believe it took place in Korakuen Hall. Great stuff. Chase showed some fire. Juice got beat. And then that built to that feud, where it would culminate here with this match. Okay. The problem is then it was overbooked with powder from Gato and a whole bunch of shit and just a slow, plodding, methodical pace. Methadactyl. I can't do a pterodactyl impression, obviously, but anyway, it sounded more like a cat trying to meow. So, but this, I don't mind a slow-paced match. I don't mind it when you have it where the heel does everything to try and win, but it's just Chase Owens just isn't interesting in singles feuds. He's not. He's a good talent. Him and Foley are a pretty damn fun team. He's really good in tag teams, but good God, this match, absolute shit, and I can't be like biased, even though I am at times. I have to call it right down the middle, and I have to say when New Japan has a bad match. They had a bad match here, and I like Juice, but this is the match that nobody could have made work. It was really shit. Now we could get on to Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, lights out, unsanctioned match at AEW Full Gear. Now let the comment section explode. There are people that like that match, and that's okay. You guys liked it. If you thought it was great, if you like deathmatch wrestling, that's okay. If you like matches with a whole bunch of weapons and everything, that's fine. That's great. It was shit. To me. It was fucking bullshit. It didn't need to be 38 goddamn minutes. I didn't mind them having a match that went like, say, 18 to 20 minutes in this kind of environment. It did not need to be that long. Oh, they did everything to each other. They brought out the glass. It was a sugar glass. Okay, I didn't want them to use actual glass, for God's sake, but just the implication. Like, it was gross. And deathmatch wrestling, sorry, is bullshit. And has always been bullshit. A lot of hardcore matches are bullshit. In my opinion, of course. And I calmed down just a little bit there because I know that there are ECW fans that watch my show. There are people that like Combat Zone wrestling. There are a lot of people that like a whole bunch of, violent wrestling. Wrestling is a violent sport. I get that. Just to me, this isn't wrestling. I don't mind weapons being used. I watched a match with Darby Allin and Shane Strickland on a Defy show, I think in March of this year, where there were tacks and there were other things used and this kind of stuff, and weapons and chairs, but they used them while actually having a wrestling match. This wasn't a wrestling match. This was an exercise in what the fuck and why are they doing this, and Mox doing it. I'm sorry. It was shit. I guess I really shouldn't say I'm sorry because I'm not, because it's my opinion, because I really don't give a shit if anyone's upset, because I'm not telling people they can't feel differently. this match was complete ass. I nearly had it in my top 5. But then I realized I just simply couldn't. But this is the second highest ranking AEW match of the year. Because I have a couple more that I'm talking about. But don't worry, WWE dominates the top 5. Sort of. But yeah, Mox versus Omega. This is it. This is the kind of wrestling you guys want. I know it's on pay-per-view. And okay, at least they weren't doing this kind of shit on AEW Dynamite. But the feud, the build was fine. But this was dumb. It was dumb and it was unnecessary and it was painfully long and just was dragged out. And it was lights out, unsanctioned. They turn the lights out and then they have that. And then they have the pyro and everything because that's how you do unsanctioned. But whatever, wrestling. Why should I expect logic? Number 5, the Lucha Bros versus Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt tag tournament on AEW Dynamite. I want you to look at this shirt because I love the Lucha Bros. I do. And I got nothing against the Lucha Bros here. I got nothing against Jungle Boy. The fact that Marco Stunt was included in this match was ridiculous. Now, I know you had Luchasaurus injured. You had to do something. Just have Jungle Boy and one of the Lucha Brothers face off. And do something like that. Or give Jungle Boy another partner. Because I'm sorry, the fact that if this had been like a 3-minute squash, Jungle Boy had gotten in a little bit of offense, Marco Stunt had gotten a tag, and then just got killed after one move. Well, I mean, killed in a kayfabe sense. You know, just hit with the package pile driver double stomp thing. Okay, cool. It's just stupid that Marco Stunt got in offense on 2 guys that are goddamn legitimate. Pentagon Jr., you know, who was a fucking killer in Lucha Underground. Phoenix, one of the most skilled, you know, athletic, like high-flying men that is in wrestling currently, at least on a mainstream program. Because I'm sure that there are plenty that are on indies I'm just totally missing that I don't have access to, you know, footage of. But anyway, just the Lucha Brothers having to sell for Marco Stunt, who is an embarrassment to wrestling in the ring. It's just fucking stupid. It's not believable. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It buries every single person. It took the Lucha Bros until the finals with SCU a few weeks later for me to even forget about this match because I kept thinking every time I saw Lucha Bros, I just feel so bad they had to sell for Marco Stunt. I just don't understand it. I don't know who the fuck came up with the idea to have Marco Stunt here. Now, people can say, oh, well, you know, Jungle Boy's really small. Jungle Boy's got at least a little bit of size and can pack on a little bit of muscle, not too much muscle. But he could be somebody you could build around because of his backstory, being Luke Perry's son. Marco Stunt has no upside. Legitimately, he doesn't have any upside because he can barely see over the top rope. It's shit. It's such shit. It's so stupid. Why in the world was he there? I don't know. And AEW doesn't know. Oh, wait, probably because Tony Khan was an idiot for signing him. And then we get to number 4, Brock versus Kofi, WWE Championship on the episode of SmackDown, the debut on Fox. 6 fucking seconds. 6 seconds. That's how you ended Kofi's nearly 6-month title reign. He had matches against Kevin Owens, which was a decent match. That feud with Dolph Ziggler, that it was at least cool that it was a callback to their U.S. title or their Intercontinental title or whatever. It was a callback to their mid-card feud over, titles and everything. And their various feuds, because they feud a lot. And yes, he feuded with Orton. Well, he feuded with Joe, and then he feuded with Orton. And all that. I didn't expect Kofi to win. We didn't expect Kofi to win. If it's been a 5-6 minute match, okay. Kofi had gotten in some shots. One Trouble in Paradise, and then gotten some shots in. Brock tosses him around a bit for a few suplexes, and then Kofi gets in a little more offense, tries to go for a Trouble in Paradise, doing that same spot, and then gets caught in the F5 after 5-6 minutes. Sure, I would have hated it because Brock shouldn't be WWE champion at all. It's fucking embarrassing, but at least then, okay, Kofi gave it his best shot. He got in some offense, almost got Brock beat. Okay, that's how you do it. Nope. Trouble in Paradise, and F5, 1, 2, 3. And then he brought Cain Velasquez out, totally undercutting everything that Kofi had done. Now, whether Kofi was the best WWE champion you've seen in a while, or he was one of the worst, that's arguable. I don't know why people would say he's one of the worst, but everybody has a different opinion. I think he was middle of the road to pretty good. And I think he did a phenomenal job with the title. Mainly, I'm referring to booking. He did everything he could to make that title mean something and make his reign mean something. He did everything as far as like making sure that he carried himself like a champion. The company did make sure that he was carried like a champion. It actually worked pretty damn well. And it ends in 6 seconds. It's fucking bullshit. Brock did not need the championship. Only to go into this feud with Cain Velasquez just so he could get his win back because, Brock got his little fragile ego hurt when he got his face busted in because he was in the goddamn ring with in the octagon with an actual fighter where Brock just couldn't hit him with his lunchbox fists. Nope, he actually was in there with a legit fire. Cain Velasquez, who at the time was legit. I mean, then later on in his career was less so. But stupid. It was a stupid way to end Kofi's reign. It was just shit. I just didn't understand why they ended it this way. I just don't. And then we get to Seth Rollins versus The Fiend, Hell in a Cell match. Look, at this point, you know what I thought about this. It was bullshit. The whole thing of... The red light, by the way, is stupid. The red light is fucking horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. And that didn't help. And then they carried it on for too much. At first, The Fiend no-selling everything was fine. It was fine, and no-selling the stuff. And then it got to the weapon stuff. And he kept rising up. After a while, it just got to the point where it just got to be too much. Now it's going to be to the point where you need to drop an atomic bomb on the guy to beat him. Or a Superman punch in his spear. Because Roman Reigns is beating The Fiend at Mania. We all know it's happening. Whether we like it or not. I don't. Because it's just going to take everything right back to the booze, but whatever. Seth Rollins versus The Fiend, though, that thing, it's like all that, the ladders, the chairs, and all that was too much. But bring out the sledgehammer onto all that, that's too much. And it was a no contest thing. Just have the match, never start, get on top of the cell, The Fiend lays them out and this kind of stuff. They throw all these weapons around, they beat each other around the goddamn ring. Then you could have done something like that and had a non-start, but at least it would have been something. Nope, they didn't do that. Just drop the Hell in a Cell concept. Just drop it. Just fucking drop it. This match made me never want to see another Hell in a Cell match again. And I love some classic ones. I'll have to go back actually and watch ones from like 97 to 2002. Maybe even 2005. The Batista Triple H one was pretty good. But other than, the 06 one with DX, Big Show, and the McMahons wasn't that bad either. Anyway, the whole point is this made me never want to see another Hell in a Cell match. Like, just drop the concept. If you're not going to have a decisive finish, it's the second year in a row they did this, and it was shit. Now we move on to number 2, Brandi Rhodes versus Allie, AEW Fight for the Fallen. I like Allie, do not get me wrong. Allie needs to be in a match with somebody competitive that can actually, do some good stuff with her. Because Brandi sure as fuck isn't it. Look, allow me to say something controversial on my show, how dare I. Brandi Rhodes should know that her place is not in the ring. Do I give her credit for coming back from a broken collarbone and everything and trying to get into wrestling? Sure. It's got to be a tough business. It really does. And she gets a lot of unnecessary hate when it comes to her race and it comes to her looks. That kind of stuff shouldn't be said. But her wrestling ability, or lack thereof, and her lack of charisma is all fair game. Because she's a terrible TV presence. She's about as bad as Stephanie. And maybe actually getting to the point where it's almost worse. Because at least Stephanie McMahon was, grew up around wrestling. Brandi, if she has some good ideas, they sure as fuck ain't being implemented. This whole Nightmare Collective thing is shit. And it has turned into a bit of a dumping on Brandi Rhodes rant here. But this match with Allie got 11 pissing minutes. There were other matches on that show that did not get that much time. 11 minutes. When Brandi really shouldn't have been out there for more than one. And yeah, they had her. It just why? Why was Brandi competing in a ring? This match made me wish that AEW didn't have a goddamn women's division, which I hate saying because AEW, while they have to, build up a whole bunch of people, and they did recently sign Big Swole and Chris Statlander. Great signings, by the way, especially Chris Statlander. I think she's going to be a major star. This match made me think, just scrap the women's division. If you're going to have Brandi Rhodes compete in it, just scrap the women's division. You had Awesome Kong out there. They could have faced Allie. And you could have Brandi out there at ringside. Nope. You didn't want to have that. And then we had, the Aja Kong, Aja Kong and Awesome Kong feud. Almost said Amazing Kong. And I'm like, no, that's not right. We had that face-off. Where's Aja Kong? Is she just not part of AEW? Was she just brought in for a little bit and then didn't bother appearing on TV? Does she have other obligations somewhere else? I don't know. This whole thing with Brandi in the ring was shit, and please never fucking put this goddamn woman in the ring again. And we all know why she's in the company, because if it wasn't for being married to Cody, she wouldn't fucking be there. Because she doesn't have the talent to be anything other than really somebody to just put on screen. Oh, there's Brandi Rhodes. Cool. Can we see somebody with actual talent? Apparently not. We have to see Brandi Rhodes and Awesome Kong cut off people's hair. This is fucking stupid. Fucking hell, let's finish up this list. Goldberg versus Undertaker, Super Showdown. at number 1. What the fuck else was it going to be? It was these two old guys. They shouldn't have been in the goddamn ring at all. Sure, they redeemed themselves a little bit later. Taker in that Extreme Rules tag match and everything. And then, with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre doing the whole thing of staying up behind Undertaker, which was a cool visual they did nothing with. They should have had that match at SummerSlam. So Drew could have won, but no, Drew, I think, got an injury. Have that match at Mania and have Drew just destroy The Undertaker. Not that it'll mean anything. So, then Goldberg beats Ziggler at SummerSlam a little bit after. Honestly, this match was never going to be that good. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, and it was atrocious. Guys were getting dropped on their heads. It was bad. It was fucking rotten. I can't believe that this match actually was allowed to make air. Now, I'm glad that both guys are okay, in all honesty. Whether both guys are gassed, whether both guys, is the heat or whatever, I'm glad that both guys are okay. I've never been the biggest fan of Goldberg, but I'm glad that he's okay. And same with Undertaker. I mean, I'm a big fan of The Undertaker, but I'm just glad both guys are, in general, okay. But this match was atrocious, and both guys should have gotten a ton of shit for it. Because they shouldn't have been out there. It was goddamn embarrassing. So anyway, speaking of embarrassing, I'm going to come up with a really stupid way to end this show. No, I'm not going to come up with a stupid way. Wait, I am. I'm going to come up with a funny way. Kitty cat, coming up with a way to end this show positively. Guys, just at the end of the show, if you're still watching this, yes, I know it's been a weird PSA, but make sure that if you want to get a pet, that you take into account for the holidays that pets are more than just a gift. I've had this guy for about almost 2.5 years now, and it's great. But anyway, I'm going to put him down there. But just do that. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.